أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا الحسين عليه السلام، وجعلنا وإياكم من الطالب الثاره مع وليه الإمام المهدي من آل محمد عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. Together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. For 10 nights you've wept. For 10 nights you've attended, you've commemorated. And shortly your difficulties will come to an end. The discomfort of sitting on the floor in a crowded place. Shortly these problems will end. But there the problems of the Ahl al-Bayt will begin. The crying of Sakina that will not end till Sham. The difficulties of Zainab where she will make speeches that have not been heard before. The chains in which our Imam will be wrapped. The tents that will be burned. This last amount of discomfort for you is the last amount of security for Ali Rasul. وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ. When Ibrahim wanted to make the sacrifice of his son and it was replaced with a ram, Ibrahim complained to Allah. He said, "Oh Allah, I was ready to make a sacrifice for you. I had prepared my heart and hardened my heart that I will give away in your name whatever it is that I have. But then why did you replace it and ransom my sacrifice with another? Ibrahim, who is more beloved to you, yourself or Rasulullah, my Habib?" Ibrahim replied, "Certainly your beloved Rasulullah, Habib Muhammad, is more beloved to me than even myself." Then, "O Ibrahim, I have delayed this ransom that it should be more painful for you than to give your son, that if the son of Muhammad should be taken from him in the case of a ransom. Is that not more painful or difficult for you to bear?" Ibrahim then replied, how will Rasulullah handle the loss of his son? Certainly that is more difficult for me than to lose my own son. When Zakaria asked Allah, "Allah, teach me the names by which when I shall call to you, you shall answer me," and he was taught the names of the Ahlul Bayt, he said to Allah, he says, "Oh Allah, when I mention these first four, my heart is pleased. But when I mention this fifth name, I feel sorrow in my heart. My heart trembles, my tongue stops before speaking it. Why do I feel this sorrow when I mention the name of this Madhloom Hussein?" Allah sent Jibreel with a message of Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Saad. Kaf for Karbala, Ha for Halakat al-Hussein, Ya for Yazid Mal'oon, Ain for the Atash, the thirst of Abu Abdullah, and Saad for the sabr that he would present. Look at what Zakaria said. Will you truly torture your Habib in this way? Will you really send the Masibah on Rasulullah in this way? Oh Allah, if you are certain that you will take such a difficult examination from the children of Rasulullah, then give me a son that I should love the way your Rasul will love his Hussein, and take from me a sacrifice that will be like the sacrifice of Hussein on that day. And we see Zakaria was given Yahya. And Yahya's martyrdom in the tariq of the world is second only to that of Abu Abdullah. Today is that day of shahadat of Abu Abdullah. Today is that day of trials and tribulations. Today is that day about which the Anbiya used to weep. Today is that day about which Rasulullah would hold his Hussein in his hands and kiss his neck. Today is that day about which Zahra wept about when she left this world. Today is the day about which when Amir al-Mu'mineen returned from Siffin, he threw himself on the sands of Karbala and rubbed his beard against the sand, that this is the sand that will be filled with the blood of my Hussein. Today is the day when Imam al-Hassan green with poison, in pain, where they said when he would cough his liver would come out of his mouth, but Imam al-Hassan does not worry about his condition or his children. He weeps, "Oh Hussein, I see that day when your body will be covered with your own blood." The description of Abu Abdullah on the day of Karbala is such. Imam al-Baqir said, if you knew what befell our father Hussein on that day, you would die from just listening about it. Abu Abdullah, after he buries his 6-month-old child, he turns back and he looks at the tents and he sees none of his supporters have remained. He looks at the bodies on the floor that he has gathered one by one from all morning long, and he says, "O lions of Allah, are you asleep? Do you not answer my call when I call to you? Are you not there to support me when I am in your need? Is none amongst you ready to go and defend the haram of Rasulullah?" In this condition, he turns back to the tents to bid his final farewell. They say that when he comes to Imam Zainul Abidin, and Imam is sick, and when he opens his eyes and he looks at his father, he says, "I did not recognize the man who stood in front of me. They had abused him so much from the morning that I could not recognize my father. I asked, 'Who are you?' He says, 'I am your father, Sajjad. It has come time for me to leave you.' Where is Habib? Habib has been spent. Where is Burair? He has been spent. Where is Zuhair? He has been spent. Where is my uncle Abbas? He has been spent. My brother Akbar? He has been spent. Sajjad, now there is no one left except for you and I. There is no one left to defend the message of Allah except for you and I. I tell you that this is the time that I will bid you farewell." Imam bid him farewell. When he turned, he went to the women. He found the small daughter, Sukaina, in the corner crying alone. "Baba, don't leave me. Whoever leaves never comes back. Baba, don't go. Stay with me but for some time." How the father comforted his daughter and left. How he comforted the women who remember when Akbar left. They circled around Akbar and they wept and said, "But wait for a moment, don't leave us." Now imagine that Hussein is there. How did the women separate from him? Abu Abdullah comes to Zainab to bid his final farewell. This is that Zainab who had never been separated from Abu Abdullah. When Rasulullah was martyred, she was with Hussein. When their mother Zahra was martyred, she was with Hussein. When Amir al-Mu'mineen was martyred, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein returned from the burial. When they came to the city of Kufa, they said, "We hear a cry that is being raised in the houses. What bala has befallen us on this difficult night?" When they came to the house, they found Zainab on the musalla of her father. They said, "Oh sister, your brothers are alive. Why do you cry?" She said, "I miss my father. He has left us in this condition." From one side, Imam Hassan came. From another, Imam Hussein held his sister. In front of her, I imagine, was Abbas. "Sister, brother, father has left you in my care. How will I face him if you cry like this? Abbas, why don't you care about the crying of Zainab today?" Hussein was there when Amir al-Mu'mineen left. Abu Abdullah was there when Imam Hassan was buried. Abu Abdullah was there for all of the challenges, and today Abu Abdullah says, "Zainab, I leave you the rest of the challenges you know. The rest of the difficulties are yours. My exam is about to finish here today." That sister who would not calm down except that she saw the face of her brother, how did she separate from Abu Abdullah? They say she said, "Brother, I have an amana from our mother. Give me but one moment, don't leave me like this. Hold on but one moment. My mother said when you go for the last time to smell your chest one final time. This is that chest upon which the Maloon will sit. This is that chest upon which the horses will run. Let me smell the fragrance of heaven of our mother that comes from your chest." Brother, I have one more wasiyah from our mother, to kiss your neck, that neck that is about to be severed. Zainab knew what was coming. Sayyidah knew what was coming. They said she would weep in such a way that Imam Hussein could not separate, until Allah, through a miracle, when Imam Hussein put his hand on the chest of Sayyidah Zainab, suddenly a calmness came over Sayyidah Zainab. She understood the time has come, and Allah relieved her of some of this difficulty, that she could allow her brother, the one she had never been left alone from, to leave her in this condition. But this wasn't the reason why Abu Abdullah left. He had taken so long in the tents. The army outside had no one to fight. They had begun to shoot arrows at the tents and call out, "Where is Hussein? Let us finish this war." That Abu Abdullah left the tents because the women were in fear from the arrows coming in through the tents. Abu Abdullah came out, "Hussein is alive, don't disturb the women." In this condition, Abu Abdullah mounted his horse and he faced off in front of an army. They described this army that it was more men than torrential rains would send down water from the sky. When he sat in front of this army on his horse, they said, "We looked at Hussein. We looked at a man whose back had been broken. He was hunched forward on his horse." In some poetic descriptions they describe, because the loss of Abbas and Qasr al-Dhahri broken his back. So they said, "We saw Hussein hunched forward. We saw him cover his eyes as if he could not see, because the loss of Akbar had taken the light from his eyes." We imagined in this condition Hussein to be weak. He came to us and he says, "Omar Saad, I will fight you and I am prepared for this final battle, but I have 3 requests from you. 1, you have decided to kill me. You have decided there is none left to support me, and I stand before you in my armor. I am ready to fight you. But give me some water before we fight. I have lifted the bodies of all of my ashab and even my grown son in front of you. I have buried my infant." This was not that Abu Abdullah lowered himself, but rather he gave them, maybe there is some characteristic within you that is still good. Maybe there is some shame left in you. The second I ask you is, when this is over, return my women to Medina. Don't bother them, just send them back to Medina. And the third, let the combat be one-on-one. Fight me one-on-one, I will fight you as long as you like. Omar Saad says, as of your first request, we will never give you water. May you die thirsty, Hussein. As of your second request, I also refuse that we will take your women, we will take your family as prisoners to the Amir and let him decide what to do with them. And as of the third, you are a weak and feeble man now. What man has any strength left in him after he has lost all of his friends? What man has any strength left in him after he has buried his grown son? What man has any strength left in him after he has lifted the pieces of his nephew to carry back to the tents? What man has any strength left in him when he has lost his brother like Abbas? What man has any strength when he has had his infant child flail in his arms? So Hussein, we will fight you one-on-one if that is what you wish. They had imagined that Hussein ibn Ali was weak. They had imagined that he had no more strength left after the trials of this day. But look at the beauty of the battle of Abu Abdullah. They said that he began his fight. They came at him one by one. One by one, Abu Abdullah killed them, 8 piles of their bodies. They attacked one by one. They would come and Hussein would kill them one after another and would say, "Come, oh my brother, don't you come see the fight of Hussein? Oh my son Akbar, I commented on your bravery in the battle. Don't you look at me when I fight? Oh my companions, each of you I came to, why do none of you watch when Hussein fights?" They said we were so overcome that we acknowledged that we could never beat this Hussein on one-on-one battle. We were so lost in the amazing characteristic of Hussein ibn Ali that how does one who has lost so much in one day still have the ability to fight in the battlefield? They said eventually we came to the conclusion that we could not beat Hussein one-on-one. Omar Saad gave the order. The army encircled Hussein. They made the first circle of archers, the second circle of cavalry. As they began to shoot arrows at Hussein ibn Ali on his horse in the middle, Shimr took a second force and he approached the tents from behind. Abu Abdullah calls out in the middle of arrows, "Shimr, I did not expect you to behave like a Muslim, but I imagined you would have the honor of the Arab. Shimar stops. He says, what do you mean, Hussein? He says, in the Arab there is a custom. As long as the men are alive, the women are not disturbed. Hussein still breathes. Why do you attack my tents? At least have the shame of an Arab man if you don't have the blood of a Muslim in you. Shimar replied, he called out, yes, that's fine. You tell the truth that this is the honor of the Arab. We will lay our hands off of your women as long as you live, Hussein. So they returned and they doubled their efforts on Abu Abdullah. He had been surrounded by archers and cavalry. They thought we had broken Hussein ibn Ali, but then he launched with us such a ferocious attack. They narrate it was as if a wolf had been left open amongst the sheep. They would run. Abu Abdullah would give chase. You killed my Akbar, now you run from me. You killed my Abbas, now you run from me. Why do you not stand before me and fight? They said Abu Abdullah was one who scattered the forces far and wide and would come back to the tents and stand in front of them and say, now where is your attack? Why don't you come now? And again they would gather, and again Abu Abdullah would break them until he broke them to the point of capturing Furat, again the way his brother Abu al-Fadl had captured. There's a narration that says in this moment, Abu Abdullah called out, Abbas, don't you see the bravery of your brother? One mu'arrikh says, the poet say, we saw the body of Abbas moving and trembling on the ground of Karbala as Hussein called to him. Abu Abdullah reached the water and he told his horse, why don't you take some water? You are an animal who has been suffering with me. You have run into the battlefield with me constantly. You have been honest and sincere with me. Take some water. In between this conversation between Abu Abdullah and his horse, they say the army again unified and again collected, and they recognized this thirsty warrior of 3 days who has gone through so much. We can't stop him. If he should drink water now, he will destroy us again. So they came with an evil scheme. They said, oh Hussein, you enjoy the drink of water while your women and children are being robbed. You enjoy water while we ransack your tents. Abu Abdullah threw the water, ran back to his tents and saw that they had not disrupted his tents. Again Abu Abdullah broke the ranks and took a moment. He returned to the tents. He stood before his tents and once more he bid his farewell to his sister and he called out, Allah hal min nasirin yansurna. هل من ذاب يذب أهل الرسول? Is there no one who will help us? Is there no one who will be a guardian to the Ali Rasul, to the women of Rasulullah, to Haram Rasul? From inside, he said, they heard another cry. It was Kulthum as she stood next to Sayyid al-Sajidin, who had taken a stick in one hand and a sword in another. Auntie, how can I be patient when my father is in this condition? How can I be patient when my father suffers like this? Abu Abdullah enters the tent. He sees this condition. He says, Kulthum, stop him, otherwise the remainder of Rasulullah, the authority of Allah on this earth will be cut off. Stop him from coming. Imam Zainul Abidin was stopped, and again Abu Abdullah returned to the battlefield. Again he fought bravely until they came to him in such a way that as he became tired, they did not know how to attack him, since they said that we could not approach him with sword, he would cut us down. We could not approach him with spear, he would cut us down. So they began an evil plan. From a distance they began to shoot arrows. The ones who didn't have arrows picked up rocks and began to throw rocks. One man shot an arrow. It hit Abu Abdullah in the forehead. As he removed it, another man threw a rock. It hit Abu Abdullah in his mouth. Abu Abdullah was cleaning the blood and the arrows had begun to continue more. On this day, they say, when Mukhtar caught Karbala, he shot, he says, at least 3 arrows. He says, the first of my arrows was the one that drained the water skin of Abbas. The second of my arrows was the one that killed Asghar in a way that split him from ear to ear in the hands of his father. I watched the child of Abu Abdullah that brought Hurmala, says even I cried as this infant flapped in the arms of his father, as his body convulsed from the loss of blood from the arrow that I shot. Mal'oon, what was the third arrow that you shot? He says in the condition, Hussein was alone on his horse. He had been overcome. They were throwing rocks at him. They were throwing arrows at him. Mine was the arrow that I shot at the chest of Hussein. It was a 3-pronged arrow that had been dipped in poison. It was my arrow that knocked Hussein from his horse. When they describe this arrow, they say Abu Abdullah was hit in his chest with an arrow. The arrow was so deep when Abu Abdullah tried to pull it out, he could not. Abu Abdullah pushed the arrow through his chest, removed it from his back. They said the blood that came from him was profuse. Abu Abdullah took the blood, rubbed it in his beard and says, I will meet my grandfather in this condition. I will meet Rasulullah covered in my own blood. Wow, Husayna, if this was the end of your Masa'ib. Abu Abdullah stood again. They said that now, and I don't quote this myself, this is a statement of Imam Zaman in Ziyarah Nahiya that you can read. Salam on the one who defended his family. Salam on the one who was thrown from his horse. Salam on the one who was treaded upon by the horses in his life. When Abu Abdullah falls, the cavalry continues its attack. They said in some parts, we don't know where, our horses hit Hussein. Our spears were aimed at Hussein. But Abu Abdullah, look at the ferocity of the son of Zahra. They said Abu Abdullah, again, we don't know where he got the power from. But again, he attacked us. We saw Abu Abdullah on his feet in this condition attack us in such a way that he was a man on foot. But he attacked the cavalry as if he was on horse. He again broke our ranks. Again, we collected upon him and we pushed down upon him until we hit him with spears. We hit him with swords until we struck his shoulder, until he went to his knees. In this condition, there was one son of Imam Hassan remaining. There was a small boy of maybe 12 years who, when he saw his uncle fall again, he wrestled free of his mother. He says, Mother, how can I stay with you when my uncle is in this condition? He runs to the battlefield. As they raise the sword on Abu Abdullah, this nephew says, have you no shame? Do you not see the condition of my uncle? He ran in front and raised his hand to protect his uncle. They cut off his hand. He turned to his uncle's lap and he fell forward. Ammu, do you see the condition they treat me in? Ammu, do you see what they have done to me? They have cut off my hand. Abu Abdullah, in that condition, they say, he comforted his nephew. He says, but wait, but just for a moment. For a moment, just remain. Your reward is with your grandfather. Your father is waiting for you. He is proud of you. Be patient. Abu Abdullah is covered in his own blood, but this small nephew of his, still he gives him comfort in this condition, until as he is comforting this child, one mal'oon shoots an arrow, kills the child in the arms of his uncle. Again, they say we don't know how. Abu Abdullah is enraged. Again, he tries to attack. Again, he falters. He stands to attack. They push down upon him again. They attack him again. Again, they keep attacking him. And again, he keeps trying to rise until they said, we saw Abu Abdullah. He was swaying in his position. He could move no more. Much time had passed. Zainab had not heard anything from the battlefield. We see when you go to Karbala, you see where the Mukhayyim is. You see where the tents are. And then you see a place called Tilla Zainabiyya. Zainab, when she could hear no more news, the dust had increased. The army had encircled around Abu Abdullah. The armies were standing there and waiting. They were thinking that maybe Hussein is about to die. No one wanted to take the blame that we laid the final blow upon Abu Abdullah. Zainab came to Tilla Zainabiyya. When she saw the army, it had encircled a man that she could not recognize. They say Abu Abdullah in this condition, there was not one dirham space on his body that did not have a wound upon it. The Imam Baqir describes, when my grandfather Hussein, on that day, in that condition, would breathe, blood would come out from his body. He had been injured to this extent. When Zainab looks from Tilla Zainabiyya, are you my brother Hussein? When no answer came, she called out, Hussein, answer your sister. No answer came. The third time she said, oh Hussein, by the right of our mother Zahra, if you are my brother, then answer me. Abu Abdullah turned, Zainab returned to the tent. Hussein is still alive. As long as Hussein is alive, no one will touch you, Zainab. Each of the mal'oonin, they tried to come forward. Each of them tried to come forward, but they said, it was such a miraculous sight. We had never seen someone who was covered in his own blood, who had such nur as Hussein ibn Ali did. We became embarrassed as we raised our hands over the son of Zahra. We would turn our faces crying and run away from him. We did not know what to do. None of us was willing to take that responsibility until from behind, Umar Asad says, Hussein is alone. He is done. What are you waiting for? Mal'oon Shimr came forward. He brought with him his enemies. They came around. They came to the body of Abu Abdullah. Someone stuck him with a spear. Someone stuck him with a sword. Someone made him drop. Oh, Shimr came to him, Mal'oon. They said, has Hussein died? They said, we don't know if he's dead. They said, call out the name of Zainab. If Hussein is alive, he will move. These are not my words. Read in Ziyarat Nahia. My Imam, he cries tears of blood on this day for his grandfather. You want to understand the Maqtal of Abu Abdullah? You can't bear the Maqtal of Abu Abdullah. Go listen what my Imam says. He says, my salam upon the one who, when he was alone, when the sweat of death had overcome his brow, when he was in the state of difficulty, he continued to open and close his fists. He continued to move his hands and feet to indicate Hussein is alive. Don't go to my tents and my women. Imam continues, my salam upon the one who in this condition would secretly turn and look at the tents to ensure the sanctity of his haram. What did my Imam see when he looked at the tents? Maybe he saw Zainab standing there. Maybe he saw Sakina wondering, where is my Baba? Abu Abdullah in this condition continues to make some movement that, oh Mal'oonin, Hussein has some life in him. Do not approach my women and children. Hussein has some energy in him. They write in Maqtal, they say that this time period on earth, it seemed as if time had stopped. It seemed as if time itself had stopped moving. We believe Imam is Hujjah on this earth. One of the explanations of why this time period of Shahadat was so long is that the earth and time do not move except by the authority of the Hujjah of Allah on this earth. But I tell you, the Hujjah of Allah was one who in this condition was coming and going from consciousness, that when he would become unconscious, time itself would stop, that we do not move without the authority of Abu Abdullah. When he would come to, time would continue. They said the world would come to an end as Abu Abdullah would come and go from consciousness. In this condition, eventually the Mal'oon, he came to the conclusion that I have decided it is time to kill Hussein ibn Ali. Abu Abdullah, when he sees Shimr over him, he says, Mal'oon, if you have decided to kill me, then but give me but a sip of water before you kill me. Shimr says, I will never give you water. Abu Abdullah says, then certainly you are that Mal'oon piebald dog that I saw in my dream that is responsible for taking my life. Shimr offended, says, if you call me a dog, Hussein, I will kill you in the worst way ever. He takes Abu Abdullah, turns him over by his beard, sits on the back of Hussein ibn Ali. Whoa, Hussein! Whoa, Hussein! There is a poet, he describes, he says 14 strikes of the sword of Shimr it took. 14 strikes of a blunt sword my Imam forbore in this moment. They say, why did it take 14 strikes? The poet says, some of those strikes you will see on the hands of Zahra in the day of judgment. That Zahra was the one who said, don't kill my son Hussein. Don't kill the remainder of Rasulullah. Matem Hussein.